came in with our questions and a ring of empty chairs. Old oak table scarred by hands, cold spots hanging in the air. You said, who's been waiting here? I said, somebody's still here. The glass moved by itself, 3 knocks from the wall. Every guest went quiet, then the dark began to call. Ghosts at the table, ghosts at the table, say it out loud. Ghosts at the table.
Well,
That was nice. I like that song.
Yeah, it's just, I have to get used to it, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
it was just a start. I wasn't done yet, but I had to do it fast because I just thought it and I was like, oh, I want to do that
Yeah,
before I forget.
I was getting into it.
yeah.
I'll
Maybe if
I'll
I
send you
heard
the
it a
song.
few times because I'm so hooked on our Things Paranormal Talks sound.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
Change
that's
is
not gonna
good.
change.
Change is good.
yeah, if anyone is questioning the sound at my background, I have my umbrella cactus and he's trying to break out of his cage. So that's what you're hearing. But tonight we have a different kind of show. So the background doesn't mind, doesn't matter.
Not
Uh,
today. No.
I'm
Make
not
as much
going
noise as
to
you want.
curse. I'm not going to curse.
Or she again.
Do the
We will
whole
bleep
show?
it.
No, I can't promise it.
I was gonna say because I'm gonna be paying attention.
Yeah, pay attention.
She's going to say 1, 2
I
every time
need
you
a
curse.
curse jar. I need a curse jar.
She'll probably
I
curse
do.
at Nick when he comes in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
See, she already knows.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he was on his way, he said. So
Uh, we
always
have
Nick then.
we have a fan in.
Yes, we do.
Hello, Noreen. How are you?
Oh, it's not.
What
I
up?
want to see Angelina. So,
Head up. There we go.
oh, you're a lifesaver.
I know. There we go.
I'm going.
Oh, I see it on the screen.
Yeah, I do have to share it out in our groups, and I did send the link out, but let me do it in our groups, and that's all I do if my phone is working.
Nope, that's too dark.
I shared it out on Facebook.
Oh, you're the best. You're really the best.
So Nick just posted an hour ago, and I'd like to know where his late ass is.
Yeah,
Just
because
saying, Nick, if you're watching,
Get
um,
your
you're
ass in
late.
here.
Yeah,
Shelly,
put your ass in
Shelly,
here.
I do see on top of Angelina custom demo. Um, how do you get rid of it?
Custom
Because
On
custom
top of
demo.
Angelina.
let me see if it's
What do
in
you?
the. I,
Oh no, you don't see that on screen. That's just for us.
okay,
Oh, that's fine.
okay. Perfect,
Think she's
perfect,
going to be
perfect.
reading your private emails. I see.
Well, we have a combined email address, so she can read all email.
Yeah, and
This
he
canal.
can read mine, so I do all the bookings and schedules, and he can read what we discuss.
I
Like
still
he could
forget the
read.
dates.
Yeah, I created it that way because I don't have any secrets for shame
Mm-mm.
concerning the whole things concept and
No.
participation in things network.
That's good.
Well, Look who the cat
Kick
dragged
this
in.
man out. He's late. What? Kick him out. Get out,
I'm
Nick.
I am so sorry I'm late because you said 3:30. I'm thinking, well, wait a sec, because I was a bit confused. And then I looked at it. Oh wait, it's 2:30 now. So I guess it must have been the time difference or whatever.
We are 6 hours ahead, so your clock is broke, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, probably. You
He
were
just got
just
up. It's all
snoozing.
dark.
No,
Yeah.
I was having something to eat first, and I thought I still
Oh.
had enough time, and that's when I just like finished up as quick as I could and then ran down the basement stairs.
Oh,
I,
good
I want to.
excuse.
I haven't seen you in a while, Nick, but you are looking good. You look like you're losing weight. Not that you were fat. And I love the hair.
Yeah.
Yes, you're actually right on everything.
About
I've
20 years
lost
younger, bro.
I've lost over 50 pounds, and just earlier today, I just got this hair freshly cut and wanted to have a change in appearance. So, you guys are the very first
Wow.
ones to see this.
You're
Wow.
doing
What
good,
a
man.
Yeah.
wow, yeah. I'm about to say, give me some of them pills, whatever you're taking. 'Cause damn, wow. I mean, I've seen you on Facebook. You're everywhere all the time.
Yes, I
Like,
am.
Jesus. Wow, you're looking so good. Not that you didn't look good before, but
No,
yeah.
I appreciate it though. Thank you.
I mean, you know me. If you look like shit, I would have told you. But you know, you just, there's a big
That's right.
change.
Uh,
All right, I'm done talking to Nick.
yeah.
I'm done. I love Nick.
It's great. I gotta say right now, it's just great to see all of you guys because it has been a while since I've seen you guys.
Yes,
It
it
has
has
been,
been.
yeah.
But you will be on more often because we agreed for you to
Yes,
become our co-host, and you managed to get some people to agree to come
that's
on
correct.
the
Yes.
podcast. And I'm not spoiling the surprise, but they're going to be fun.
Yes,
Mhm.
definitely will.
Yeah,
Very
so
excited.
people, our Nick is coming to join us. So
Yeah.
Somebody message me right now who it is. I want to be part of the secret. I'll be hitting you up after the show, Nick,
That's right.
with some blackmail, maybe a few threats.
So you got nothing on me to blackmail. I was gonna say you got nothing on me to blackmail me, but the threats, you might have some. You might have some
Yeah.
advantages with that.
Don't make me send Mothman after you. He was over here
Yeah.
last night. We was partying. No, it's nice to see
oh,
all of you. It's been a minute.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, it's been too long.
it is. And I got the idea to talk roundtable talks because of some things I saw on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, people mocking each other, um, calling out names, gathering people to attack others. But what I think um, which stood up the most is this. You have some pioneers in the paranormal. You have the Warrens, and you have from the sleeping psychic. Who do you have more? The Hold side. Those people uh, made it possible for us to talk paranormal, to come out of that we are interested in the paranormal. People are not making fun of us anymore. And now, with the knowledge we have now, we are going to debunk the paranormal with the knowledge from 30, 40 years back. I think it isn't fair and it is ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
They opened investigations. They made many mistakes. Did they know? Could they have known? We are 40 years further. And now everyone is flushing them down the drain. There are fakes and they cheated. They made money with false claims. And people
Yeah.
doing the same on TikTok now, going into buildings, screaming around like Zach Bagans with their cat balls and claiming they have activity. They do the same thing. And there's one guy who is debunking them. Well, go ahead, make my day. I can laugh about it because it's entertainment. But they made sure, and they got attacked so many times, but now they get attacked again, and they're not around to defend themselves.
Yeah,
Which
really.
is sad.
It really is.
What's the
Exactly.
biggest rule in the paranormal? Let them rest in peace.
Yeah.
They're
Exactly.
breaking one of the golden rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it offended me. It really offended me because they can't defend themselves. Um, their name is down the drain by certain groups of peoples and certain fans of those peoples, and whole podcasts are made of it. And I think it's horrible. There's no more respect, no more claiming to agree to disagree, and we comparing their work with the knowledge of now, and that's
Yeah.
from back then. But I want to know your view on it. So go ahead, start with it, Nick.
Yeah, since you were late.
Yeah. That's your
Don't
punishment.
mind if I do.
Doreen, you're right. You're exactly right.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of emails. Yeah.
You know, just the fact that, well, I'll start off with the people that are basically, as I would put it, the Zach Bagans wannabes
Yeah.
that try to do exactly everything that he's imitating. Now, I will admit that I'm sure a few of us, like when we first started, getting ourselves involved, maybe we had a little bit of that happen to us too. But as time went on, we were able to learn to do it the correct way, not like what Zach was always doing. So yes, like I said, I admit I'm guilty of that. Like many years ago I did, but I don't do that anymore. But if people are still doing that, even after when they know it's not right, then that's just a ridiculous decision that they're making. Because again, it's another one of those things that if you're going to try to do that, you're obviously, if you're trying to establish communication, of course, obviously, I never provoke, but clearly you're doing it for the wrong reasons. If you're trying to communicate with whatever's haunting a particular location. But the other thing too, I think more importantly is, and this is whether it's involving Zach Bagans or not, because unfortunately there are some names out there, some folks out there that they might still hate Zach Bagans, but they might still do things the wrong way in their own way, if that makes any sense. And one of the things that often usually happens, and I think I've told you guys about this before, is for especially a lot of newcomers, is the lack of respect from some of these people, because some of these newcomers are always under the assumption that something's going to happen like right away. Like they would think if this place, they would be thinking in their heads that if they really thought that this place was haunted, it would happen immediately. But it doesn't. But unfortunately, as much as we want it want it to happen immediately, it doesn't work like that. So, I mean, you guys know I've been to some notorious haunted locations, like for example, Bobby Mackey's Music World years before it was torn down. And you see the documentaries how it was so active, so haunted. The exorcism that occurred, the demonic entities, if there ever were any to begin with. But when we investigated over a decade ago, I mean, we were given all these warnings about what we need to be prepared for. But long and behold, we barely had anything that occurred to us that night. So, you know, that's the other thing too. That some of these newcomers and even some experienced investigators just don't get the message that it's not going to work the way that we all wanted to. So, like on the night when I went to Bobby Mackey's, there there was no possession. There was no scratches. I mean, yeah, we may have gotten some EVPs, although I will say, and I I think I said this before, we actually had a newcomer who was using the Ghost Radar app on her phone, and I can't tell you how much I just really wanted to say, you're not getting anything out of that, right? It's just the app doing it. But no, the only other thing I can really think of is just the fact that for the true investigators, if you will, like the professionals, the ones who really know what they're doing, and to have others out there, call them out, whether it's the way how they investigate or whatever evidence they get, and they'll just like go right off the bat without even checking for sure, is this something, truly paranormal? Because obviously, as we know, sometimes it is probably something that can't be explained, but some people will just say, nope, I know what this is, because we had somebody like that a few years ago, and this guy didn't even give a chance to actually look at things. He was the type of guy who he thought he had all the evidence. Everybody else that got anything was complete nonsense. He just jumped right to it. Yes, it's good to have a skeptical side, but you don't just debunk it without actually looking at it, and vice versa. You don't also just assume that it's paranormal without checking, is there some kind of logical explanation behind it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally
fully agree. Yeah,
And
definitely.
go ahead.
Shane's turn.
No,
No,
you
no.
So, I, I've I, I've been staying off the internet and watching a lot of the paranormal stuff. I've just kind of backed away because the field is just shit right now. Sometimes I'm embarrassed to tell people I'm a paranormal investigator because the field is shit. Um, I agree with Nick. A lot of people start off and they might start off like the Zach Bagans or the Sam and Colbys or something. And if they continue to keep doing it, then they're just in it for different reasons. When I got into it, I was fortunate to not be one of those people to act like, oh my God, or not question what I'm hearing or might be seeing, because I lived in a haunted location and I explored and investigated with thousands of teams and hundreds of different people and people from all over the world. So, I hate people who are like Zach Bagan. I really fucking do. But when it comes to the Warrens, I've been kind of watching that a little bit because, again, I'm from the East Coast. I'm in Massachusetts, and I grew up learning about the Warrens. Our catechism nuns talked about the Warrens, and some of them talked good about the Warrens. And I have a family member that hung out with Lorraine Warren before I was born and talked good things about Lorraine, and they never talked about the paranormal or anything like that. And I myself don't quite believe in everything the Warrens have said or have put out there, because I don't see the evidence and I see the logic behind why some things are happening that they say are happening. But I still respect them, because if it wasn't for them, like you said, Mary, we would not be able to be loud and proud about being paranormal investigators. We would not be talking about it. We'd be too afraid, and people thinking we're crazy, or whatever it might be. But this shit that's going down with YouTubers using their name to monetize themselves and make money and get views, that's disgusting. They're gone. They're not with us no more. I'm Catholic. I learned to respect the dead when they're gone. You leave it alone. You don't bring up none of the bad shit that ever happened in life. You let it go. They're in paradise. Let them be. So I don't agree with none of the stuff that's being said. I don't agree with people who are jumping on Tony and Judy Spera about selling the house to Elton Castee. I don't believe that anyone in a family is upset because they didn't give their consent or permission for her and Tony to sell the house. That's their house. It was given to them. No one else in the family, so it's no one else's business. I recently did do a video calling someone out about that because it pissed me off. It made me mad that those things this person was saying were made up and lying on screen. This person was lying on screen with no receipts, no nothing. And, I've done my debunking stuff and I've called people out, and I don't like the word debunking anymore because a lot of these debunkers that I thought were cool in the beginning are not cool. And they're not talking about the paranormal as much anymore. They're talking about it in a negative way. They're putting down people instead of the investigation. Don't put down the person, put down the investigation. What's going wrong and investigate? What are they doing wrong? They don't do that no more. So I have gone back to what I learned when I first got into the field is to be a critical thinker. Why did that door close? Why did that sound just happen? Why did that over there just go off? Why? Use my critical thinking skills, not debunking. It's wrong of me to say that person's a liar. They didn't feel that. I don't know because I wasn't there, and I don't know if I felt it. And these debunkers that are using the warrants the way they're using them right now, it's sickening. The shit Jason Hawes did with that Stevie, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I watched probably 10 minutes of it and shut it off and said a quick prayer to the Warrens and said, God, I hope you're up there dancing, guys, and you're not watching what's happening down here. Because that was, in my opinion, that was just uncalled for. The whole podcasting was uncalled for. This girl just got called out on her bullshit, and you have her on your show. So that shows people what kind of person you are. But using the Warrens' name to make money and to even say things about them without having receipts, is wrong. Because if it happens to these debunkers or these people who are talking shit about them, boy, they go off. They go crazy. Where's the receipts? I need to see. Where were all the receipts? I mean, there was facts that were talked about in the video, but why are we talking about it? Why are we bringing up the Warrens? They're gone. They're gone. The house is sold. The house is bought. The museum is in Salem. It's getting ready to open. People are going to be able to see it. I'm going to see it in August. I was asked to go. I'm going. I don't believe in haunted objects, but I have respect for the Warrens and I have respect for those objects because a lot of them look really cool and they came from all over the world. And I'm excited to see that. Why? Because of the history of it. Am I excited to say, hey, let's ghost hunt tonight and see if any of the objects talk? Hell no. That's not nothing I want to do. I want to see these objects and I want to know the history. And if I don't think that an object has the right history, I'm not going to question it. I'm going to go home and just research it myself. And I want to say one thing though. A lot of people are saying all the stories that the Warrens tell about the objects are lies. First of all, I would say what? 80%, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, 80% of the items in the War Museum were given to them by people who told their stories, and the Warrens just shared the stories that were given to them. People
Yes, they
tend
had.
to forget about that shit.
Well, yeah, they have. And not only that, even though Ed and Lorraine Warren are gone, because you guys probably remember I went to the Rock Island Paracon last year and the Warrens Foundation came out to it. Not only did they bring some of the actual artifacts with them,
They brought
including
Annabelle, right?
yeah, including most notoriously Annabelle, the real one, which I again for me, there was no, I felt energy coming. So if I was feeling energy from it, there was no way that was a fake doll that they were using. But the main point of what I'm saying is, even though Ed and Lorraine are gone, that museum, they're still receiving possessed artifacts to this day. So even after, some people are under the impression that they stopped putting more of those items in after when Ed and Lorraine Warren passed. No, that's still continuing. Like some of the items that they were displaying in this little pop-up museum, if you will, some of the stuff was just given to them within the last 5 or 6 years. So they're still receiving new items like this to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, people need to just stop and instead of talking shit, find out what you want to know. Ask the questions. When I was doing my video to say, hey, this person is saying this about the Warrens, but this is wrong, I reached out to Tony Spera. I reached out to a couple other people in the Warren family before I did my video to make sure. Are you mad because you didn't give consent? Are you mad because you weren't asked permission? No, everyone that I talked to in the family was, it was just upsetting because that was their grandparents,
Yes.
their uncle, their aunt, and it's like John Jaffa said in his video, it was just hard for me to see people touch my aunt's stuff, and it broke me. But never once did he say he was unhappy about the sale of the house or mad that he didn't get permission. He was excited it was sold. It was kept up. He's happy of what Elton and Matt did. They did a great job over there. It looks beautiful. The gate I drove past, everything looks great. So leave them alone. Just leave them alone and stop talking about them. And I'm going to say it because you know me, I don't give a shit. Truth and Demons podcast, if she does not have the Warrens or Nesper to talk about, she is nothing but a woman in a mermaid suit with some counterfeit fishtails. Like this girl's got to stop. This girl's got to stop.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's an
I've
absolute
been watching a
disgrace.
lot of her videos, and a lot of her stuff, she's right, but the way she says things aren't true. Like, and there's a lot of inconsistencies. Like, this one said that one said that, but where's the proof? And then I go look up the article, and that's not what that one said, and that's not what this one said. And it's like, wow, these people are gone, and you've been destroying them since they've been gone, and you're continuing. Leave them alone. That's like me going after Cody and Satori for all that time. You know, you didn't hear about the people I'm paying to go see Cody and Satori. It kind of stopped a little bit. They're doing it again now, but whatever. Do your thing. My word got out there. If people want to believe in you, people can believe in you. We can agree to disagree. But leave the Warrens alone. They're dead. They are gone.
Yeah.
And also
Leave them alone.
to add to it, as somebody who's also met, well, I didn't get to meet Ed because he was gone, but as someone who also met Lorraine Warren almost 20 years ago now, back in 2009 when I was 16 years old. Sadly, of course, no picture. This was still at a time before iPhones were really actually being used. But the fact that I was able to have a good conversation, even though it was just for a few minutes with Lorraine. And you have to think, too, we're talking also pre-Conjuring days. This was even before any of the Conjuring movies were ever made. Yes, they were still, Lorraine was still appearing in documentaries like Paranormal State, especially at that time. But as someone who got to actually meet her for a few minutes and have a conversation with her, regardless, yes, it may be true. The Warrens may have some controversy that follows them, but not even if it is still controversial for, to this day, as it had been for some people for decades, nothing can compare with what was recently said about them, though. And that's just beyond the line, because you also have to remember, too, when it comes to the Warrens, that yes, they were investigators like us, but considering there definitely weren't as many paranormal investigators, 50, 60 years ago, with the exception of maybe like Hans Holzer, for example. They were a product of their time. They did whatever they possibly could to try to help families out there, even if it was unsuccessful. The best thing they tried, I mean, in the end, at least they tried whatever they could do.
Yeah. And that's what matters, is they tried, and If they couldn't help, they say, "Hey, I couldn't help," you know. But this shit going around, they made all this money and stuff. I'm pretty sure growing up that I always heard that they never charged people to do what they did to go in and help, and they paid for
No.
their own gas, they paid for their own travel. That's what I heard, and I'm like, made money? Like, where are they getting this shit from? Where's the proof?
Exactly.
In my research, I mean, as far as what I've seen, there has not been one time when I did research about, like, for example, like when I did some of my episodes of Nick Files on certain, haunted house events, and I would talk about the Warrens during that case. There was, at least for the episodes that I've done or the cases that I covered, there was not one time that I ever came across during my research to find that the Warrens were actually getting paid to do this. No, they came out either, yes, they may have been invited out, but the rest of it was up to them, or they might have been close by and may have wanted to check it out. But regardless, whether again it was an invite or not, they all did this on their own accord. There was never any money involved.
Yeah. Yeah. And like
Exactly.
Mary said earlier, you're new into this, you're going to try anything to communicate, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then you're going to move on to something else. And that's what I learned from the Warrens. Like, don't give up, just try other things, try other ways. But people just got to stop. I mean, my family's not into the ghost hunting thing. And if I were to go on and do a video about the Warrens, my family would be pissed off, not because of who they are, but because they're gone. They're dead. And you
Yeah.
don't talk about the dead. You just don't do it, no matter what. Whether they were a PDF, a murderer, you don't do it. You don't. That's it. They're crossing the
Except,
line now.
Yeah, and
except for interesting serial killers.
Maybe, yeah, it's well, and even when I will say, even though I have covered the Warrens myself, like for some of the episodes of Nick Files, I'm also doing it kind of in a much more professional way, because I'm doing it, when you think about it, like because they were involved with whatever activity occurred in this location, and in some way, shape, or form, they also were, part of the history practically. And I talk about past figures all the time, especially in the history section of my slideshows. So it's one thing if you're kind of adding it for the historical reasons, but as far as anything else, though, like regardless of what it is, I agree though. You just don't talk about that stuff in general.
Yeah. Have some morals, values, and ethics about yourself. Um, what do people in the Netherlands think about the Warrens? Are they known there just to paranormal investigators, or do people who don't investigate know them?
Your mic is off.
Fucking forgot to mute myself
Oh
again.
shit!
I was going to do sign language.
I've been wondering why he's so damn quiet.
You did it, Jenny.
Yeah.
Maybe you should grab a cocktail.
I'll
I
keep
didn't
it to
say that.
water.
I
Better
didn't say
safe than
that.
sorry.
Move it along. Move it along.
So, what did you want to say, Shane?
Well, I wanted to say before I forgot to put on my mic. I think everybody in the Netherlands knows the Warrens because of the Conjuring movies. But my view on it is maybe they did something wrong in a lot of people's eyes. That's why they covered it right now. They're fakes. But like Mary said, it's 30, 40 years ago. They didn't have that much like we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of people who forget that we as investigators are still learning as well. So we're doing it wrong as well then. If they want to start talking about wrong things, then we're doing it wrong as well because we're still learning every single day.
It's the
If you're
typical
not still
message that
learning, get out.
no one's perfect. So
Exactly.
that's. Mm-hmm.
And they believed that they could help people, and they did.
Yeah,
So what's the problem? Why do we have to kick them in the grave? Because that's actually what they're doing.
yeah,
Because
Yeah,
the
it's all money
pioneers,
talk.
so let's make
It's
that
all money
money.
talk.
yeah,
Yeah.
Which
exactly.
sucks.
Yeah, for clicks and likes and
Yeah.
views. And we don't care about clicks, we don't care about the views.
No.
And we are definitely not in it for the money. And people need to know the difference between the movies, because it's especially Hollywood paranormal investigations exaggerated for entertainment purpose only, and the real warrants, and we I don't know them, I haven't met them, so I can't judge them.
No.
Yeah, and more importantly, too, is that, and this is another thing that some of these people, like who are calling them out, fail to realize too, that again, everyone's also under the impression that the Warrens are actually the ones who started the paranormal field. And yes, I mean, they definitely did to some varying degree, but there have been other previous investigators that even predated them, long beforehand. Because, like as I've already said,
1800s.
yeah, I was going to say is like you guys know, I have that I never released it publicly, but I have that paranormal memorial that of the list of all the investigators who are now deceased, not only just of those who have recently passed, but also those who have passed within the last basically 100, 200 years practically. And if you look, I mean, if you look in my, if there was, I wish I could release it, but again, I don't want to cause controversy with like the recent, deceased names. But what I can tell you though, at the very least, is you look at that memorial and you see how far our paranormal ancestry goes. It even goes as far back as to one of our founding fathers here in the United States that we've recently discovered. So the other thing too is for them to be calling out, they're talking, they're calling out people that, yes, it may have jump started more interest in the field, but this is something that's been going on for, if not, at least certainly well over 250 years, if not even further than that, because the earliest one that I was able to find, that not necessarily an investigator, but someone who was a spiritualist, which not surprisingly was in a part of Europe. I just keep forgetting her name though, but she lived in what is now modern day Sweden, and this was back in the 1750s and 60s. So long before even the United States was ever formed. So, again, you're calling out people that were just like what we're doing now, where the Warrens, even though there were far more fewer investigators, 50 or 60 years ago compared to now, they're continuing again a legacy that's been around for centuries. And, who is it for anybody to say, call them out, for something that we've been doing for so long? In fact, you even look to the oldest paranormal group in the world, the Ghost Club in the UK. That's been in operation since 1861. So
Right.
that too predates the Warrens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't hear them talk shit about them.
No, you don't.
No.
You know what's funny to me too is uh, John Zaffis. He's got a haunted collection. He had the haunted collected movie or TV series or
Yeah,
whatever.
Haunted
Why are people
collective.
not give? Yeah, why are people not giving him shit when he learned all that from his uncle and aunt?
No. They're
Why
waiting
isn't
till he
he getting
died.
shit?
If he's dead,
You know?
they're gonna start talking shit after he died.
Yeah. And I just saw John Zaffis a few months ago at Parasite in Mansfield, Ohio. So I was just I was just speaking with him not too long ago.
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just like people just got to stop. They just got to stop. And but I want to go back to Bobby Mackey's because I went to Bobby Mackey's before they shut it down, and I've been to Bobby Mackey's 2 times, and never, ever did I see anything or hear anything that I've heard about people say. Nothing. I've caught a couple shadows, which I what I thought were shadows, They have a garage downstairs there, and there's like garage doors that
Mhm.
face the street. So when cars come, the lights come in. And then debunked it myself and said, "Oh, that was a car coming by." Never saw a cue ball move off the table. Wasn't possessed. Was very quiet. It was very eerie, but I think eerie is going to be anywhere you go in the nighttime that's dark and there's no lights on. Um, I think I got an EVP. The most I felt there was like I was being watched, and I kind of felt like maybe I was being watched by Carl. And I think that because Carl and I have the same experience, we've both lived in a haunted location, and it mentally fucks with you. And I thought Carl was with me the whole night. I felt sad in there, and I shouldn't feel sad at Bobby Mackey's. It's a bar. It was a running bar. Gangsters owned it at one time. It was all these different things. So, but none of those big stories, none of that. Nothing in a hole. I sat in a hole. I didn't feel anything but dirt.
Yeah, that was the same thing for me too. So it was just like the way I also see it too when it came to Bobby Mackey is like if there, I mean, even if it's true, if there was something that was really bad there, it's definitely long gone. It was definitely, removed a long time ago. Like, in other words, you would have had to be at that time in the late 70s, early 80s to actually experience what they were experiencing. But whatever was there has long been removed.
Right, right. It was a story about the lady named Pearl, and something down. She got killed and
Johanna.
thrown down a drain or something like that. And I'm just
Or
thinking.
Brian, yeah.
Sometimes I wonder, did Carl haunt this place because he was here so much when he was alive? Did he start losing his mind? Because when I lived at Post Town, I had to leave sometimes for days at a time because I started to lose my mind and I started to question my own sanity. And I
Yeah.
think it was me driving myself insane with this is haunted, this is going on. And I'm not saying it's not haunted because wow, I have heard some crazy shit with my own ears at Post Town, but I think if that place before they tore it down, I think if anything was haunting, and I think it was Carl. I think Carl loved the shit out of that place. And if they say we can go back to wherever we want to go when we die, I think Carl was there. But I've never
Yeah.
had any bad feelings about that place. None whatsoever.
Yeah, there was no
Except
intimidation.
for I hope it doesn't collapse.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was no intimidation from what I recall when I was there. Like honestly,
Hmm.
the only thing that the only thing that really occurred while we were there, and this was even before we started the investigation, was when we were talking with Bobby Mackey himself was not there. It was I think one of the waitresses, I guess. So we
And if you
spoke with
guys
her.
don't know, he didn't believe it was haunted. And
No,
he
he
owned
never did. He was very skeptical about it. I think he still is to this day.
he even thought his
Um,
wife was a little crazy.
Yeah, he thought so. I mean, although in spite that he didn't believe it, obviously he still appeared in documentaries being interviewed and stuff like.
Yeah.
He actually said during an interview one time that you know he had been there for so long, and he said if you want, I think it was my connection to this place that if you want to call it a paranormal experience for me, so be it. But apart from that, he never had any experiences. Even when he first purchased it back in 1978. So, but anyways, yeah, like I was saying, yeah, we were talking with one of the waitresses of this place, and the time that we went, this was in August of 2012, and it was so humid that night. It was hot.
Wow.
It was probably one of the most difficult investigations I think we ever done because it was so hot and there was no air conditioning either. And of course, outside was not any better, but while we were talking with one of the waitresses, we felt this very cool breeze that just went right by us, that just passed right by us. That obviously there was no air draft, and the AC sure as hell was not turned on. Couldn't explain that. But apart from maybe a few, again, like I said, a few ghost box sessions without the ghost radar, of course, that was pretty much all that happened that night. Nothing else occurred apart from that breeze. And like I said, this was even before we started investigating.
Yeah, I definitely would say that that place is haunted, but residual haunted. That's as
Yes.
far as I'll go with. how it's haunted at Bobby Mackey's. It's
Yeah.
residual because it's a bar, so you got the same people going all the time, sitting in the same bar stools, doing the same thing, you know. And in a way, I'm glad that Bobby Mackey didn't believe in spirits and all that, and I'm glad he was skeptic because Bobby Mackey's is famous. So can you imagine if he really thought that place was haunted? They'd be talking about him in
Yeah,
his afterlife
they
and make
Yep.
definitely
money off
would.
him.
Not
You
only
know,
that,
and
I mean, like,
I think all location owners should learn to separate the business from what goes on.
hmm
You know,
well,
he
and
did it right.
when he opened up his restaurant back in the late '70s too. I mean, even when a lot of the paranormal, like when it was probably a lot more active back then, it didn't matter. Like again, like you said, he even thought his wife was crazy too. It didn't matter how much people were experiencing paranormal activity. He was telling kind of both of his wife, his friends, his employees, and customers alike, saying, "You got to stop talking about this. I don't want people to know." Even if he did believe it, he didn't want people to know that this place was haunted. He wanted the public to basically be under the impression that this was, a typical rural country music club. And that was
Yeah.
it. He didn't want it to be this famous haunted location. We have a location like that right here in Chicago, the Congress Hotel, which I'm sure some of you guys have heard of, which has
Mm,
not only is famous because it's in the Chicago area and because of its history, it's also been a popular movie and filming location.
yeah.
And yes, it is featured. So this is another building I can kind of relate to Bobby Mackey's with. Yes, that place is often usually featured like on the ghost tours, and I've helped out with some of the ghost tours in the past. It seems as if every time we always walked into the Congress Hotel, security and employees would just kind of give us this dirty look like, oh no, it's them again. And it was clear. It was clear. They did not want, even if they were aware if it was haunted, they did not want us there because they wanted everybody to see it as a five-star historic hotel. They didn't want people to know about the
Yeah.
paranormal stuff. And yes, we may have been allowed to access at least part of it for the tours, but even with what we had there, we were just met with disgust. And honestly, I don't blame them for how they feel. I really don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
I understand. We have a restaurant in historical basements here in the city center, and I did a few investigations, but nothing came out because they want people to come in to have a decent meal and great reviews, and not people to stay away because of the hauntings and people specific coming for the hauntings. It's a restaurant,
Right.
Yeah.
so I can understand.
Yeah. It was nice that he allowed the paranormal community to be there
Yeah,
and investigate it. Certain, I think he only had certain nights of the week. And you couldn't really investigate too long because they had to come in the morning, get everything ready. But he trusted people to go in there at night and not steal the liquor, steal any money, steal any bags of peanuts or chips, or I've always wanted to grab a soda from the soda fountain in there and behind. And so he was very gracious in that way, and I appreciated him for doing that, because we wouldn't have been able to investigate Bobby Mackey's if he didn't allow that to happen. And I forget the name of the team who took care of it, but they were phenomenal. I remember when they came to Post Town, and they were phenomenal. They took care of that place, and they made sure that nobody messed with Bobby Mackey's stuff. And I do. I like how he separated the business from the paranormal, you know? I
Yeah.
think a lot of location owners now I'm seeing location owners who I've known for 8 and 9 years telling different stories about their location, stories that were never told before. But now these are new stories and they're bigger stories. And it's like, what is going on in the paranormal? Like,
Yes.
things are shifting, things are changing. It's all about money.
Yeah.
Money, money, money. We have a place here called the Wisteria House, And it's a house that got moved from another part of Massachusetts by the Skinner family who produced silk here in Holyoke, Massachusetts. And we have the canals and the hydropower and all that. And I asked to go there and investigate. They says yes. But when they told me how much it was, I was like, I don't care if this is in my city or not. They wanted $100 an hour
Jeez,
to go in there and investigate.
that's insane.
And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm trying to help my city by putting the Wisteria house out there because it will go out there to the paranormal. You allow paranormal investigations, but I ain't gonna do this for you for $100 an hour. That's I think that's the worst I've ever heard. That beats the Conjuring House, Rolling Hills Asylum, a lot of
Yeah.
places. It beats
Mm-hmm.
them right out. And the paranormal now is about talking about dead people who were famous and making money. What can we do to make money? I was
Yeah.
just talking to somebody today that ran a jail. I'm not going to say the name of the jail. And remembered when the owner was saying, "Hey, we were thinking about putting some boxes in here with some spooky sounds." And she's like, "You don't want to do that. Paranormal investigators, true ones, will find that, and then your business will be ruined." Well,
Yeah.
she's no longer there, and now people are coming out of there hearing chains and whistles and all different kinds of noises that were never there in the amount of time they spent in that building working there doing tours throwing investigations never happened, and now
Mm-hmm.
it's all of a sudden happening. So it's about the money. It's everything is about money. Someone said to me the other day, "Oh, you did that video on Truth and Demons podcast. You called her out for the money." No, I didn't. I'm not monetized. My channel is no longer monetized. So I don't do nothing for money. I never did my YouTube for money. It was never about the money. It was about the truth. So it's one big money pit. And right now, the Warrens are the ones that are bringing in the money, and it's sad. It's extremely sad. They should be donating to the Warren Foundation,
Yes.
Yeah.
not
Agreed.
taken. And
Agreed.
that's all I have to say. Drop the mic.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Don't break.
Yeah. Very well said. Though I definitely agree with that completely.
Yeah. It's sad. It's all sad.
It is.
So,
Yeah, but
like Shane.
did,
Shane's like, "Angelina, I need views and I need money. These people need to
come
watch
on.
my shit." Like, yeah. Just kidding.
It's just like
Come on.
it's like what I've always said too. Like if you really kind of
love you.
also, when it comes to like people who are looking for all this attention for the likes, the views, money and fame, like it's absolute nonsense. Because like for example, like even in my personal perspective, when I do episodes of Nick Files and whatnot, yes, I'm always happy when people are watching and commenting on the shows, but there have been some shows where I literally have nobody watching at all. Is it going to stop me from like doing the show because no one's watching or at least not listening to it? No, I'm still going to do it because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And I always know too, even if I wanted more viewers, they could always tune in later during the day. So
Yeah.
the viewers and the attention is not what I'm looking for. If I do have viewers, great. If I don't, doesn't matter to me. So I'm not about the viewers or fame or attention or anything like that. I just do it because it's something that I enjoy doing. And that's what it all boils down to. Contrast some others who are like, as we just said, who literally try basically everything in their power to get whatever attention they can get. And that's just not right.
No.
And
Nick,
especially
what do
No, I
you
was
think
gonna
about the Nick Buell situation going around?
that I'm actually still I just kind of caught up on that. So I'm still kind of trying to get the whole story out of it. So when you guys talk about it, I could probably get some knowledge out of it. So that's something I just learned in the last few days.
I mean, the biggest thing for me is, and again, it's with the same podcast, is they're downing him for being sober and having an addiction. Addiction, they're saying, does it make you steal? Does it make you lie? Does it make you rip people off? Yes, the fuck it does. It sure as hell does. An addiction is the devil. And
Yeah.
well, that's the devil over here saying, take it all, you know. And Ryan Buell's come a long way
Yeah.
from 2012, a very long way. And Ryan Buell is very well known. Ryan Buell, to me, is more of a celebrity than Jason Hawes is. Um, he's up there with Zach Bagans in my eyes because I like Ryan. But now the conversation is the Warrens and Ryan Buell. Let's put down Ryan Buell because he's famous and we're going to make money off of him. What they're doing to this guy could tailspin him right back into addiction. And what will people do if that happens and he dies?
They're gonna
None
talk.
of the people talking shit will apologize.
Yeah, oh, they won't. They're gonna continue this even like to this day. They're gonna think that, yeah, they were right the whole time. No, they were never right to begin
Yeah.
with.
Exactly.
Well, I guess those peoples haven't had to go through it in their friends' circuit.
Yes.
I've seen what things done to some people, and they decided to take their own lives. Um, Recently, I had one, and he wrote a letter and explained everything, really everything. What was messed up, how he felt, how his body gave up, and he felt worthless, he felt alone, he felt targeted. He even selected his own music, and the pictures were supposed to be shown, and he wanted everyone to come in silence, so they notice why they were there. And they went out in silence out of respect. And I didn't know him that well, but it hit hard. It hit so hard. People taking abuse of him, people expecting lots of things of him, um, still talking about shit he couldn't do any different because it was in the past. It is horrible, and it's horrible for the people who are left behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's horrible,
No, it
and
is.
it's onto them. It's really onto them if Ryan Buell is going to that next step. They are guilty, not him.
Yeah.
They are.
It's the same thing
Mhm.
they did with Jacqueline Nunez. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Jason Hawes admitted he knew she had mental issues and told the wrong people about it. We started talking about it, and then it became let's jump on the owner of the Conjuring House and start making that money. Channels were getting bigger, views were going up. I stopped. I was like, I had a nice conversation with Jacqueline, and I said, I'm not gonna bring up Jacqueline no more. But they attacked her mentally. They attacked her constantly mentally. When she got the DUI, they took that footage and posted it all over YouTube and did not care about her mental health. And I remember commenting saying, what if that was your mother? People did
Yeah.
not care. People did not give a shit. But they profited off a mentally ill woman's bad decision, you know? And no remorse, don't feel bad. We're human. So I don't care if I don't know you. If you have a drug addiction or something's going on with you, I'm going to feel that sorrow and sadness for you. And I'm going to try to be there. And these people that are out here talking shit about the Warrens and the Buells and that it's wrong. It is wrong. And addiction is a choice. Addiction is not a choice. It's not it yes, you choose to pick up those drugs when you're a kid or whatever, but I think they say like 75% of Americans are addicted because of hospitals giving out pain meds when they're in there and then letting them go without easing them off. That's the issue. But when you got people, and I'm going to say it like Beardo, talking about Ryan Buell the way he does, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And I'm not surprised because he talked gross about me too, but it's just sad. Where's your human
Well,
kindness? You know,
Wow.
maybe you are the misdirected sperm, not me.
well,
Exactly.
I also
No,
want
but
to add to it too. Even if he was addicted to drugs and stuff like that, you don't know. I mean, again, it is true with what I'm about to say. This does not excuse for this type of behavior, but at the same time, you don't really know what their back history and stuff is because
No.
I'm sure we've all seen commercials and stuff. And keep in mind, I've spoken about this myself. Like when I was growing up, I was having a lot of rough times myself, and they often say, kids who are either bullied, abused, or whatever are more likely to drop out of school, 20 times more likely to end up in prison, and 50 to 100 times more likely to become addicted to drugs. So, how do we not know about if they had something that was rough, that occurred rough for them in their past, and they never received the proper help that they need? And they did this essentially realizing that, in a way, as much as I hate to say, it's almost like they don't have a choice because it's like it was their way of trying to like numb the pain.
Yeah.
So again, yes, this does not excuse this type of behavior, but you have to kind of look from a person's certain perspective of what got them into it in the first place, but also realize too, even if they're in that type of situation where they may have made some bad choices in the past, as long as it's not like so severe, like let's say like killing someone, for example, you could still help and you can still change to be a better person and, change exactly who you are.
So, with you saying all that, Nick, and I totally agree with you. So, there's this big controversy going on right now because, um, what's his face, Arnie, that killed
Oh, Arnie Johnson.
Arnie Johnson, is
His
going to be
land,
at
yeah,
one
his
of the
landlord.
Paracons.
The so-called the
Yeah,
demon murder case of
the
1981.
right, and he's out, and he's going to be at a Paracon, and now people are dropping out of the Paracon. And I don't know if you guys in the Netherlands, do you guys know his story?
The
Nope.
So
demon murder
he
case, it
yeah,
was,
you could probably explain it better, Nick.
yeah. So I'm going to keep it real short, but it all started back in 1981, where Arnie Johnson and Debbie Glatzel, along with their 12-year-old brother, who we believe he actually might have had autism, like I did, believe it or not, they moved into their own house in
Interesting.
Brookfield, Connecticut, and it first started with their brother. His name was David, I think.
Yeah.
He claimed that he started seeing an old man with hooves for feet, but at night, apparently this man would turn into a beast, basically a demon of some sort. And at first, it seemed like a lot of the activity was latched onto this poor kid. That, again, I know demonic cases, especially in this day and age, are controversial, but this poor kid, regardless of whatever it was, he was going through hell. And it got to I mean, yes, they performed a few exorcisms and they got rid of, because David also apparently said that because he later started calling this entity the Beast. And he claimed that the Beast started calling more demons to attack him. And this was one of the cases that Ed and Lorraine Warren was also involved because
In
it
court,
considering that
they went to court, right?
they
And
went
they
to court.
testified in court.
Yeah, and during the exorcisms, unlike what you see in Conjuring 3, this became a very, when they started performing the exorcism, because there was actually one point where David like almost died. And the Warrens, at that point, the Warrens realized that it had gone way too far. I mean, yes, they were there to help and they were trying to do everything they can. They had to call the police because this was starting to become like they realized that not only did this become a hazardous situation, but it also became a life and death situation, literally. So that's when they went to court. But after the exorcisms of David, at first it seemed like everything was removed. They were covered. But unfortunately, and you see this with the very few rare cases with demonic possession, it started to all relapse. Arnie Johnson, you can pretty much say his soon-to-be brother-in-law, because Debbie Glatzel was David's sister. He finally had enough and was yelling out to these entities, saying, quit picking on them. If you want to pick on someone, pick on me. Take me instead. Unfortunately, it was not a risky move, and this is what led to pay for him the ultimate price, because not long afterwards, the Beast and these other entities started attacking him. Yes, he may have saved his brother or his future little brother-in-law, but now they were coming after him. And then at one point in 1981, he was talking with his landlord, who prior to all this happening, not only was this guy that he was working with was his landlord, they were actually really good friends too. And all of a sudden, something just kind of like provoked Arnie, and he ended up stabbing and killing his landlord.
Yeah, that sounds familiar because it is in the Conjuring movie.
Yes, it is. That's
Yeah.
the case that it's.
You were telling it, I was like, didn't I see that one? Something. Yeah, it was in the Conjuring movie.
I
Found it.
think it's on Netflix as well. The Devil Made Me Do It.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, contrary to popular belief, that's not actually the first time that case was turned into a movie, because less than 2 years after the actual case, in 1983, they actually made a made-for-television movie based on the case. It stars. I'm actually just looking it up now. In fact, you can actually watch the original film on YouTube. It stars Liane Langland. Even Kevin Bacon is in it. Charles Fields. It's got quite a couple. What's that?
Kevin Bacon. I'm gonna meet some Kevin Bacon. I'm gonna lick that bacon all night long. That's what Mary's thinking.
No, I have
He
a
just
jaw
popped right up.
dropper. I have a jaw dropper later on. So,
and I'm just reading a little bit more just about the case, where they said, several months, Johnson killed his landlord during a party. His defense lawyer argued in court, and this is where it goes to the trial stuff, argued in court that he was possessed. And this, at that time, this was the very first trial case in which somebody was basically being defended by killed someone by act of demonic possession. So, but the judge, as you can imagine, ruled that such a defense could never be proven and was therefore infeasible in a court of law. And as a result, Johnson was subsequently convicted, though he was actually originally sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison, because it wasn't, in spite of what he did, it was not a murder charge, even in spite of the name. It just ended up becoming a manslaughter charge. So he was sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison, but he ended up only serving 5 years behind bars. So since that time, he's been out, and on a few occasions, understandably, not very frequently, but he has appeared on some of the documentaries and has explained, how everything was. Now, the first time I ever did see anything involved in that case that case was also featured in an episode, an early season episode of A Haunting, which Debbie Glatzel, Arnie Johnson were on, as well as Lorraine Warren, because obviously Lorraine was still alive. This was I think this might have been about a year or two. It was either a year before or a year after Ed died. And when I used to watch that episode, because again, I also saw this during my early days of studying the paranormal. When we watched the episode, I had no idea at that time that there was actually a murder case that was going on, because they were only focusing on the demonic possession of David. Yeah. And I know they recently made that other documentary like a few years ago that has been shown on the Travel Channel a few times, that interviews almost, and they showed it was like, when I watched, I'm going to be honest, I was actually in tears, not just how devastating it was, but they were showing like literally all this never before seen footage from the earlier haunting episode on the documentary. And it's like, it was like a secret that just completely uncovered after all these years. And now I had a better understanding of why this case, for the longest time, with the exception of the television movie, was not very well spoken of. So it was certainly a case that to this day, yes, still receives a lot of controversy, because was Arnie really possessed? it's really hard to say. It's like what you said earlier about that we weren't there to see it. So we really don't know we'll probably never truly know what really happened that night, except for those who were actually there back in 1981.
And it's sad because that's another person who's being thrown around the internet by paranormal debunkers and paranormal investigators because he's doing a paracon. And people feel that he shouldn't be doing it because he is labeled a murderer.
Well,
But
and
like Nick said earlier, you don't know what really happened. You were not there.
Arnie
People have
Johnson.
mental illness and hear things in their head. He might not have
Mhm.
been possessed, but how do we know if he had a mental illness? We
Right. Well, and
don't.
Arnie Johnson, in one of the never before seen parts of the interview of him when he was on a haunting along with Debbie Glatzel, he actually and you have to remember that time too, because it was like around 2005, 2006. So at that time, the murder was only like 25 years old. So at that time too, it was still relatively recent. And Arnie Johnson, he recalled that when he was being arrested, he was like, he was not like the typical kind of person who said, "Oh, I didn't do it," or anything like that. When you know for a fact that they were guilty, yes, he may have done it, but it's like he didn't remember doing any of it. So he actually kept saying, "No, there's no way that I could have done this.
Right.
You know, you've got the wrong guy. If I had done it, I would have remembered it." And clearly he didn't. And unlike other typical murderers, I mean, I can't believe I'm about to say this. There are some
Say
people
it.
who have committed that type of crime where they have shown remorse. They've regretted. They wish they never had it. Does it? Yes, they may have killed someone. Does that necessarily call them a monster? Basically, not necessarily. When you look at the backstory and really like go through a psychological standpoint, I mean, there's nothing to excuse if there was someone who was intentionally killing someone. There's no. This was a guy that, as far as we know, had no intention to
Fine.
kill. So you really can't.
Yeah.
It's 50-50. You can't really call him a murderer. In fact, if anything, I would simply call it. I honestly look at it more as an accidental killing, if anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the way they're talking about him, and people are dropping out of this event and everything. This guy's been out of prison for over a
40 years.
decade.
Yeah, almost 40 years now.
Yeah, 4 decades, and hasn't been arrested once. Haven't
No, he
heard no
hasn't.
drama. He's lived a perfectly great life, and people change. He still doesn't. I don't know if I don't think I did it, but why? People don't talk about him, but now they're talking about him because he's going to be in a paracon. So let's make money off Arnie and the possible mental illness he could have had at the time that he did this, and that makes me sick. I'm not gonna not go to this paracon because Arnie's there. He's been fine for 40 years. I'm not afraid of him. Leave him
I would
alone.
want to listen.
Stop
I would go too
making
if
up.
I wanted to.
Yeah, stop bringing him up. Stop making up bullshit to
Yeah.
make money. Stop doing it to everybody. I mean, these three people are getting a spanking on YouTube right now for no good damn reason besides cha-ching ching.
Yeah.
You also have to realize too, it's devastating on his part too when that murder occurred, because you always hear a lot of times that when it comes to somebody killing, they get like justice or something. They're really, there is no winners when it comes to anything like this, because poor Arnie, he took a life, even though it was never, and he never had any violent history, prior to the murder, never had any run-ins with the laws, never had any juvenile record. Just a pretty decent, normal, everyday guy from what I understand.
Yeah.
But not only did he ended up only taking a life, which, is horrible enough, that's something he also has to live with for the rest of his life. It's like whether it was accidental or not, it's like survivor's guilt. It's very much, very much like how a lot of our military, like when they fought in wars, they've seen their buddies die. They had to kill people from the other side. They may think that they often will tell you they were just doing their job or following orders, but deep down we see this especially like with World War II, Korean, Vietnam, survivors, as well as even the most recent wars. Those people never come back the same they were when they left, and it's something they got to carry, even if it wasn't their fault. They still have to carry that with it. So it's very much, as even though I'm not wishing it upon on Arnie, just carrying the weight of what happened to him over 40 years ago. Probably to him, it's probably punishment enough that he did this, and I can sure understand why it's great that he is finally going to a Paracon to tell his story. But I can also understand too why, with the exception of some of the documentaries that he's been on, that he often usually keeps a very low profile because he doesn't want all this negative attention, because people, because unfortunately, like we were just saying, there are others out there, especially those outside the paranormal field, that could look at him in a very different way. So he needs to have if he needs to have a low profile, and he needs his privacy. I respect that. And as you guys see to this day, well, wait a minute. Actually, I forgot. He and Debbie Glatzel, they stayed married until Debbie passed away a few years ago. Yep. So no matter, that's the other great thing too, was that no matter what happened, no matter what happened or what the reason was, Debbie, David, and the rest of the Glatzel family still stayed by his side and supported him, even when he was in prison. I think his own family I think both sides were supporting him. So in spite of everything that occurred, people on both sides, including the Warrens themselves, did not think he was this bloodthirsty killer. They were there from the time he started his sentence to the time that he was released. And I think he still has that support system even to this day, because, it's not going to, this was something that truly was never going to truly go away. And he needed all the support that he can get, especially even after decades. He still needs it. I've never really heard exactly of like where David is today. I think he's keeping a much more lower profile than Arnie is. Because I think he just doesn't want the publicity, because he's never appeared like on any shows or whatsoever. But Arnie, like I said, I just think even after what happened over 40 years ago, I still think he's just a typical guy, and that's it. And I think his story and I think his story especially needs to be told. Again, it may not necessarily serve as a defense for other people who have committed, violent crimes like that, but it might shed some light on some other people out there that probably to this day we still don't know about, that may have ended up in a similar situation and might have done the same, but like obviously again on rare occasions, knowing that there was something strange going on. This is not just a typical murder.
Yeah, he was, if I remember correctly, he was well liked by the community, knew a lot of the community because they had a dog grooming service there. They were cleaning. So he met a lot. He had a lot of support behind him through this trial. And just the support alone, you got to think to yourself, like, something's not right here. Maybe he is telling the truth, because it's like when your mom tells you, if someone tells you there's two tails behind you, you better start looking. Hundreds of people stood behind Arnie through all of it. And, he's going to go to the Paracon. I saw one comment, you'll be lucky if you leave alive. How fucked up is that?
That is sick.
Like, this guy's been out here for 40 years and has not broken any laws. And we would know if he did. He's famous. And at the end of the day, he's famous. It was a brutal murder. Like, but the shit people are saying, and it's disgusting. I've had people, Angelina, I hope you died during your heart surgery. Well, thanks for telling me that. It's gross. It's disgusting.
You're nothing more than cyberbully.
Yeah, it's senseless. It's disrespectful. I mean, again, and I don't care if people want to call me crazy, like whoever watches this later on. But the way how I also see Arnie Johnson, of who he is, like I said, I think he's just like anybody else. I mean, I don't know how my parents would feel, but I would just say if I had my own place, I would have no issue having him over at my place and hang out with him
Yep.
for a day. I really wouldn't, because he just looks like he's a really nice guy to chat with.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
feel the same way
I
about
agree.
Jacqueline Nunez. She lost
Yeah.
her condo, all this stuff. I don't know where she's at, but if she needs a place to stay, I have a spare bedroom.
Yeah, but it's the
Come.
same with military.
Yeah.
Some of them have even orders, shot children,
Yeah.
women. You don't deny access to your home because they're veterans, but they kill people as well. I have an uncle, I have a nephew, I have a friend. Orders are orders, and if I didn't do it, well, the military police came. So, what's the difference?
Right. Well, and
Exactly.
I just thought of an example of what you were just saying, Mary. Like when it comes to veteran,
Yeah,
um, this is actually involving a famous movie actor, and of course, this when I'm about. I know it's early, but it's also involving a famous Christmas movie, James Stewart. I think we've all seen the movie "It's a Wonderful Life," right?
yeah,
There's that famous scene in that movie where he was before he met Clarence, when he's sitting in the bar and he's like crying, basically, like thinking his whole life's falling apart, and he's saying, "Show me the way," and stuff like that. Those tears that he was demonstrating, that he was showing, were real, because at that time, because this was just a year after World War II ended, he had
Mm.
just came back from the war. He had witnessed horrible things. He witnessed his friends die. He witnessed kids that fought alongside with him die. He had to kill people. He probably had to kill kids on the other side too. And it once again goes to show that they are never ever the same when they come back. Like, you see I think we've all seen like interviews of like World War II survivors, like when they're much older, and it shows
Yeah.
decades of them still crying over it. Contrary to, again, what some people may think, it was not always like that for them, like at old age. They were exactly the same way they were when they were younger. They were absolutely guilty of what they were. I mean, of what they had to go through. They may have been serving their country, but the end, again, there was no winners. So for somebody like James Stewart, for example, who probably did have to kill, people himself, fighting over the war, it was not pleasant for him. And yet, yes, he still managed to have a very active movie career and a good life, but the thought of what he had to do never, ever left him. He felt so guilty of it. And that's something that he probably would have to carry until he died almost 30 years ago. So it just
Yeah.
goes to show that there are people out there that may have committed some horrific atrocities that, continue to haunt them. And I think in the case with Arnie Johnson, he's no exception to that.
Especially not here in the East Coast. That story will be told for hundreds and hundreds of years to come. But again, 40 years of nothingness, living a quiet life. No one ever killed again. Like,
Or any kind
it's
of
sad.
crime in general. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing. And I just think it's sad that these people are. If you're afraid, you're afraid. Don't go to the Paracon. But don't call it out online. Don't draw more attention to the guy. Let it go. Let it go.
yeah,
Just stop it. Let the Warrens go. Let Ryan Buell be left alone. And Jacqueline Nunes, let her be left alone too. Because you know what? Karma's going to come around on everybody who's talking shit. And I'm going to say
Mhm.
this one thing: karma's coming around on Jason Hawes. So everybody stay tuned for the next depositions on August 6th. Stay
If I
tuned.
could also if I could also throw in one other location that kind of had something similar like that, I'm sure some of you guys might have seen this too, is undoubtedly the Villisca Axe Murder House in
yeah,
Iowa.
No,
yeah,
God.
I don't know if you guys ever saw those pictures of, I don't know if it was a group of investigators or if they were just tourists or sightseers. They took a picture in front of the house. Like, yes, I know a lot of us, I mean, I've never been there yet myself, but
You haven't been
yeah,
there, Nick?
I'm surprised I haven't. I have been wanting to go for years. I can't
We
tell you
should
how much.
meet up and go.
I'd be more than happy to.
I didn't get
Uh,
nothing, but I would go again.
yeah, well, what I was going to say is, like, okay, it's fine if you want to get a picture in front of the house and you know the sign and whatnot. In fact, I probably would do that myself with my typical paranormal pose that I always do at every haunted location. But that's I do it as a professional way. Taking a picture like that in front of the house is one thing, but when you have whether they're ghost hunters or just a group of people in general lying on the ground with like fake axes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was just like that. It was like, how do you sleep at night? Like, and people might say, well, the murders occurred 100 years. It doesn't matter how long ago it occurred. This was the site of a very gruesome murder where 8 people, including 6 innocent children,
Yeah.
were horrifically murdered in one of the most worst possible ways that you can imagine. And it was such a murder that shocked the entire nation, if not the world, that for a brief period, because you have to think this was in 1912. This occurred less than 2 months after the sinking of the Titanic, of course. This murder alone probably took a lot of people's attention away from the Titanic sinking because, the people were truly afraid. They literally thought there was a horrific living madman on the loose, and they all kept thinking that, well, they haven't found the guy. Who is it? And are we next? Because this guy basically targeted when anybody least expected it. So again, now fast forward a century later, and to have people pose like that, I'm sure the spirits of the family that lived there must have been so pissed off. Like, I would not be surprised. They're thinking, how could you do this to us? How could you represent us like this? It's horrible. And their murderer
I feel the same way about the Lizzie Borden house. 2 people were killed brutally by an axe, and they're making money off selling axes with blood on it.
Yeah.
It's so disrespectful. Oh, you guys yeah, they do, don't they, Nick? Isn't it them who does that?
Not only that, they've even made axe-shaped cookies while they're there.
So how is that respecting?
I hate to say, I'm sure the cookies probably taste good, but I do not like the fact that they shape them into axes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they sell the axes online. They sell the Lizzie Borden dolls, and it's just like you're glamorizing and monetizing murder.
Yeah.
Whoever did it brutally fucking went at their heads with a fucking axe. That's a picture of the father I will never get out of my head. Of that man laying on that chair.
That famous picture of him like lying on the side. Yeah.
Like,
that photo.
I won't even go to the Lizzie Borden house because for them it's about the money. And I will not participate in that shit. Not at all.
Yeah.
Have you heard how expensive it is now to even just stay one night at the Lizzie Borden house?
You gotta rent every goddamn room. Oh my God.
It's like, Mary and Shane, if you didn't know, I mean, obviously in this case for US dollars, it's like, I'm not even joking. Like, even if you were to stay one night at that place, it's got to be, I mean, I haven't seen what it is recently, but it's got to be almost $1,000 just to stay one night at the Lizzie Borden. Even 20 years ago, even 20 years ago when I first started doing this stuff and I saw early documentaries on the Lizzie Borden house, yes, it was expensive at that time too, but it was nowhere expensive as it is now. It was just like, I'm kind of with Angelina. It's like, I've always wanted to go to the Lizzie Borden house. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to go. They're asking for so much money.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
They're preying off somebody's murder. Like
it's a great thing. Like it's an eventful thing. In fact, it was. And there was the same thing with in Fall Rivers, Massachusetts, when that murder occurred back in 1892, which ironically was just 20 years before the Villisca Axe murders.
Yep.
That people in that part of Massachusetts were terrified because, again, they thought a living madman was on the loose, and they feared that they were going to be next. And
she got off.
There was actually somebody that, well, I just want to be clear because this was something that was fake. If you guys remember, one of the first shows to also ever demonstrate the Villisca Axe murder house was Scariest Places on Earth, and they claimed that they interviewed an old woman who knew the family. Unfortunately, we have discovered that was all fake. It was just an actress. So that
I was gonna say, she's
obviously.
pretty damn old.
Yeah, well,
No,
that's. And I was thinking to myself. I was thinking to myself, like, wait a sec. If this
add
happened
it
back
up.
in, I thought if this happened back in 1912, and this was like filmed in 2000. I mean, I get it.
Right.
Maybe if she was, I get it. Maybe if she was born in 1912, I could see how she could still be alive today. But for her to actually know, she would have had to have been well over 100 years old if that was true. But even though it was just an actress, she was at least reciting things that people actually who lived during that era, who remember when this all occurred, and the people who had spoken about how they all felt after, and you can kind of say the same way too for the Lizzie Borden murders, is that some people were crying, some were just quiet. It just seemed like they were just all scared to death because could have been any one. It was the classic who is the killer? Maybe he lives right next. Maybe he or she lives right next door to you, or you could be sleeping right in your own bed with that person if you're married, basically. Because that actress did make a good point about one thing: when it comes to crimes like that, and those people have not been caught, you're never safe in your own bed, your own house, in your own town.
Thanks, Nick. Now I'm gonna sleep with all the fucking lights on. Thanks. Thanks. I'm like looking. I'm in my bedroom looking into the whole house like, are the doors locked? It's not even dark out yet and you got me tripping. I can walk around an abandoned location in the dark, but don't do it at my house.
Well,
Nick.
Angelina, at least we're not married to them.
Oh my God.
That's the same thing with me. I'm not married either. I still live at home with my parents. So it's, as far as I know, I'm good.
I'm safe. It's not my husband.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like, all jokes aside, though, it's a real good message, however, because, like I said, to go back to the group pictures of what these people were doing, mimicking those murders, that's just like, dude, it's just not, again, it just doesn't matter how long ago it occurred. This was the site of this was the site of a gruesome murder whose people's lives, especially the children's, were cut so short. As I would put it, any future that any one of those kids was going to have. I know they definitely found not just them, parents too. I know they found no peace in this life. I only hope that they'll eventually find peace in the next life. And for people to basically make fun of it and stuff, like, it's one thing, as I would put it, because again, we've always seen documentaries, not just not just on the paranormal side, but even by the history side. It's one thing if you were creating a recreation for a dramatization historical documentary, because you're doing it for serious reasons. It's another thing, however, though, when you're just doing it for fun and glorifying it, and that's inappropriate, way too inappropriate and disrespectful.
Yeah. Those are the type of locations I don't want to go to. I don't want, I see a lot of the Lizzie Borden people that go there and they investigate and they focus on Lizzie. Lizzie wasn't the one who was killed, you dumbasses. If you want to focus on Lizzie, go down the street to the house she shared with her sister or go talk to her at the cemetery. Let's talk to the mom and the dad and the stepmom. Like, why is it all about Lizzie? And why are you profiting off somebody's death?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that's sick.
And
that's
Lizzie,
almost as sick as being a murderer.
Yeah, I mean, and Lizzie herself, yes, she is suspected that it's possible. Maybe she did kill.
I think
I was going to say maybe she did. I was going to say maybe she did. I mean, yes, she is suspected that probably she did do it, but in the end, it didn't really matter whether she did it or not. Her life was literally ruined afterwards, and she lived she never married. She stopped talking to her sister for various reasons, not just about the murders, but just also about
other things. Bitch, because she did it.
That, and she died alone almost 100 years ago in 1927.
Yeah,
as she should, because she did it.
Yeah.
Who else?
Wow.
Where'd they find her clothes? In the laundry? They were being washed. There's like Come
Yeah,
on.
that's
Sam,
can't
Sam
argue with that.
Beltru
I
said,
can't not think about that.
Yeah,
yeah, we have to talk about Sam Beltrusis because that uncle might be guilty as well because he slept in the bed next
yes.
to the dead woman. So,
And he kept leaving letters that were from him, but they thought they were from someone else. Like, we should do a conspiracy theory show one day
we
Yeah,
are going to
yeah.
about
do that.
haunted locations
We
that
are
glorify the
going to do
murders.
that.
Wait,
I
We're gonna
like
wait,
do
hold
that.
on.
that in the
Hold
next
on.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. I want to
Absolutely.
be part of that show.
You better be.
Can we talk about
You're
Michael Jackson?
on. You're
And
Can
on.
we
and
talk
Nick is
about
going.
Michael Jackson?
Nick is going to be early.
Yes, I
Nick,
will. I will be
Nick
early. I
better
can
be in the
promise you that right
green
now.
room before you guys get in there.
Absolutely, next time he will be there.
Yes.
You don't know what I wanted. I was telling them off camera about
No, I
next
just want to
time.
say before I forget, I just saw this. I mean, all this talk about everything that we've been talking about. This actually goes back to the demon murder case when the documentary I was thinking about, Shock Docs. That's what it was when they showed the previously
Oh,
unseen interview footage again about the Arnie Johnson and the murder. Some deemed it. It says here that some deemed that documentary more accurate than the Conjuring films, even if the events were depicted too dramatically. And that I honestly believe, especially involving the murder.
well,
Hmm.
documentaries are supposed to be on point and correct and accurate
Yes.
as
Yeah.
opposed to
Yes.
movies. So I for myself, that's all I watch is documentaries, autobiographies about history, about murders. That's all I watch. I don't watch nothing on TV. I stream everything, but documentaries are. I saw that documentary. I thought, wow, holy
That
shit!
was it was a good one, right? Yeah, and
I
I
watched it
like the
twice
film.
to make sure.
Yeah, I think I watched. My dad and I were watching that one. That was really well done. The way how they, how they got everybody that was involved involved in the case, and again, the previously unseen footage and stuff like that. That was like that's why I'm saying it was like kind of emotional for me to watch because it was like unlocking things that I never knew previously when I first started getting into the
Yeah,
stuff. And not only did it remind me the first time that I started learning about that story, like all the way back in 2005, but more importantly, not only did it unlock stuff that I didn't even know about at that time, but it also brought back a lot of those memories themselves and kind of rewrote a lot of things that I thought I knew everything about involved in that case, among other cases as well.
Yeah.
research is key.
Yeah.
It is. Definitely is.
Definitely,
Ooh.
definitely, definitely is. I'm gonna go to the Paracon, and I'm gonna hopefully get a chance to meet Arnie, and I would love to take a picture with him.
I was going to say, definitely do that to
And if I
show
get
that
shit, I get shit. I don't fucking care. Don't tell me who to hang out with. Don't tell me who to like. Don't tell me who to believe in.
it's your
Leave me
choice
alone.
to make. And if they don't like it, that's their problem.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. I
If they
mean,
have a problem with that, in the end, it's still their problem.
I'll be the next person they're making money off of.
That's right.
I mean, they tried to do that to me. What 6 months ago? It
Yeah.
didn't work, and they're all fighting amongst each other now. So that's why I say karma is going to come around. For Ryan Buell is going to get his karma, and the Warrens are going to get their karma, and Nunez, and all these Arnie, they're going to get their karma. Their day's going to come. But it's
Yep.
sad that that day has to come.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's sad
it is.
that people are bringing it to where they have to have like, oh, when's my karma going to come for this? Like that's sad. It's very sad. And
It is.
instead of talking about the Warrens, I think somebody needs to put out a really good documentary. Why aren't the Warrens worthy of a respectful documentary? They are icons, not just in the paranormal, but here in the East Coast and all over the world.
Yep.
Where's their documentary? Where's they putting their time to the paranormal, like you guys all said. If it wasn't for them and people before them, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. And they did shit with way less stuff than we have nowadays. You know,
Exactly. And
Exactly.
so
people can learn. There was this debunker, and I'm not calling him out, but Ian
text me, I'll
Lawman.
call him out.
Ian Lawman. He wasn't supposed not to be a psychic, but I learned about my psychic abilities um, at an older age. So why not him? And he might studied exorcism. Didn't take his hand. I didn't follow him. I wasn't his stalker. So he might have done a course. I can do it as well. Uh, enough contacts. It's rough, but I can learn as well. So what I've done in the past, it doesn't count because we all learn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the past is the past. You can't change the past. You can change the past by doing better in the future. But the
Exactly.
past
Exactly.
is going to stay where the past is. That's why people, when I first got on YouTube, I was like, I'm like the Eminem of people. I put my business out there so you don't have shit to talk about because I've already put it out there. And that almost feels like that's how everyone in the world should have to do now, especially in the paranormal. Tell all of your shit before some dumbass comes and brings up all your shit that has nothing to do with your investigating skills or your ghost hunting. Why is
Exactly.
our
Yeah.
personal life being made part of the paranormal world? When I
It's
go out investigating, I'm not talking to my fellow investigators about their lives. We're talking about what we're doing right now in the moment. When we
exactly,
take breaks, we still talk about it. It's not about our personal lives. It's about finding data, sharing data with people, and figuring out how to do this right. How do we do it right?
Well,
Yeah.
and furthermore, something else, and you guys know this all too well. And again, this goes back again when I started getting this involved in this stuff at a young age. I started a paranormal club back when I was in high school. That club is still running to this day, which also means in some way, shape, or form, there's already a new generation of investigators out there that obviously,
Nice.
I don't know who's been taking over. I mean, yes, I know I try to keep track with everyone, but you can't keep track with everybody, of course. But whether I know it or not, there is a new generation now. I mean, I'm sure there probably are other paranormal clubs out there at other schools across the country and whatnot. But to some varying degree, I played kind of a big role of what might be our, again, future generations of investigators long after when we're gone. That club's been around for almost 20 years. I'm probably going to
Nice.
assume it's most likely going to be around in the next 20 years. And I
Wow.
feel very proud that it's still running. It's not I mean, from what I've heard too, is that even though I don't have much access to it, it's not being made fun of. It's not being ridiculed, whether it's by other kids or teachers or even parents
Hmm.
in general. Um, it's being looked at just like any other after school club or whatnot. And the way, and if, as long as that club has still been running, to me, that tells me that not only do you have kids that are interested in wanting to get involved in this stuff like we do, but more importantly, from both the kids, teachers, and parents aspects, that's truly a sign of respect. And I mean, yes, I'm sure every now and then we do probably have some of those kids that come from the crazy religious families out there, but those crazy folks out there is literally a minority compared to the rest. Yeah, you might have one family said, "Oh no, don't attend this. This is horrible. This is evil," and stuff like that. Most parents obviously will tell their kids, "You want to get involved with this? Go right ahead. Give it a shot. See it. And who knows? I mean, I'm really surprised we haven't came across any of these kids yet that have either been running the club now or were former members and stuff like that. Because it's like,
Hmm.
to me, that's like their first step of if they really want to get, if they actually want to participate, they see what they see that is something they like to participate in. I mean, it's like in my club now, even though I haven't ran it now after all these years, I still say, check it out. Go to this club, become a supporter, check out what we do, see what's up, see if you like, see if you like it, see if we like you. And if you want to follow us and stuff, what we do, like if you actually want to get in contact with us, again, everybody's got social media. So I'm even more surprised that not one of these kids has even reached out to us and want to learn more like us. I mean, I'm hoping one day eventually that will happen. But the good part is, I will say, is that about a year ago, this was close to the end of the school year during that time. The sponsor that ran it the last time that I was there, he's actually still running it to this day, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
And we started talking for a few minutes, and it was great too, because it was at my workplace. Because, like, as you guys know, I work in a grocery store, so he was shopping, and I told him about, obviously our networks, the Things Network and the NWSM network, Multiverse Networks especially. And what he said next, I was like, my heart just dropped. He's like, oh yeah, we know about that. We've been watching some of your shows and stuff like that. So believe it or not, guys, even if they haven't commented or anything like that, they know about us already. They're well aware about our shows and stuff. So I mean, I can't say for sure. Maybe one of them's watching right now. You just don't know, but they have acknowledged it either way. So again, take with what we're doing now, like having such a meeting like this for the younger generation out there, to have such a conversation like this live and telling, just not only the controversies that are going on right now, but more importantly, letting the ones that want to follow behind us to let them know like what's really going on here and know exactly which is the right path for them to turn.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard thing to do nowadays, because we got the Sam and Colbys, and we got the people like that. And I don't knock what they do. If that's what you want to do for your job, then you're doing a great job. Sometimes I'll watch them. I think they're funny. I love Things.Paranormal. I think they're funny. But my stepson is 14 years old, and until he started watching Ghost Adventures, he was learning from me about the paranormal, and he was interested, and he wanted to do things, and he wanted to try things, and he was understanding what devices were, and he loved doing EVPs. Then he starts watching Ghost Adventures. Then he changed. When we would go out, we would just do little practice sessions at the cemetery, or I'd take him to an old barn somewhere, nothing, never to an investigation quite type thing like that. But he changed. And it's, Angelina, how do we find demons? I'm like, excuse me? So then I got to sit down and explain to him my beliefs in demons, other people's beliefs in demons, and break it all down. And then, well, you don't use enough equipment. On the ghost shows, they use all this equipment. You always just have earphones and a recorder hooked to it and your video camera. I'm like, that's all I need. I need my senses. How can I pay attention if all these devices are going off because things in the environment are causing them to go off? And it ruined it. It ruined what I had going with him. And it sucks.
It does. And to add to it, like when I bring this story up, I know it's a story that I bring up repeatedly. When I went to Waverly Hills back when I was 17 years old in 2010, which, yes, I know I've been meaning to, I haven't forgotten. I was going to release that unseen footage that was previously hidden for years. I'm ashamed to admit there was one time that I said that because, again, at that time I didn't, again.
You were new.
I was, well, not necessarily new. Social media and stuff like that, even in 2010, yes, it was beginning to grow. We still didn't have as big of a paranormal community back then as now. So, in fact, my parents had even said that even when I was still in high school, even if I was under 18 and 21, my parents would have had no problems whatsoever to be on shows like this because they know that this would have been something that I would have wanted to participate in. So had we have all these shows and these podcasts and networks, over 15 years ago, my thought on, like, in this case with demons and stuff, definitely would have changed even at age 17. But my resources at that time were very limited, and not even just the fact that I thought that there were demons at Waverly Hills at the time. Of course, I know there's not now. But I also had very limited paranormal equipment at that time. I mean, I was lucky enough to have a night vision camera from my dad, had an EVP recorder, which I always tell newcomers too. Like, if you want to use any type of like equipment, start off with a digital. Any type of recorder is fine. You don't need to get like the most expensive. You could even do it on your phone nowadays. So you don't even have to buy a digital recorder anymore. Even though I still keep one. I had a digital recorder. I had a camera. I had a picture camera. I had dowsing rods. I had a crystal. I had a pendulum. I had a laser thermometer. I had an EMF meter. That was all that I had.
That's a lot.
It was, yeah, even then it was already a lot. But at that time too, some of the bigger equipment out there, it was just way too damn expensive. There was just no way that I can get that stuff, because a lot of that stuff was like $500 plus $600, $5 to $6, sometimes even more, $100 or even $1,000 to purchase the stuff, especially the thermal cameras. I wasn't able to get my first thermal camera of any time, the FLIR cam that you plug into your phone. I wasn't able to get that until like 2016. So yes, I already had a lot, but it was the best that I had at that time. I was lucky enough to have any of that stuff regardless. So for people out there that want to try to like jump to conclusions that there's demons or you need far more better, no, you don't really need better equipment. I mean, if you have the opportunity of getting it, if you have the money for it, then yes, I would go for it while you have the chance. But you don't need to be desperate over it.
No,
exactly.
I mean, go grab you some red Dixie cups, stack them up, put some rocks on top so they're not going to fall over, and say push it over. That's one of the cheapest investigation tools. Use a motion detector. Use like I have a REM pod. I have an Envoy. I have a couple devices. I don't use them, but my teammates do, and I'm not going to knock what they like to use during investigation. I would if they didn't know how to use it right. If they just went with the very first answer, I would be one pissed off team lead. Like,
Mhm.
I want. Oh, the REM pod went off when you said your name is Steve. Ask again. Ask again. I want repeatedness. That's the only way I believe in a device. And if it repeats, then I go further to try to. Did you say your name was Steve? If you said your name was Steve, come over here, get some cold wind going by me, do something. Like I think like your ears, your eyes. That's all you really need. Like in a camera, I walk around in the dark and all I can ever see is what's on my little tiny screen that's about this big. Walking up staircases and stuff like that, and just use your eyes and your ears. But these kids nowadays, like, it broke my heart that my stepson is just totally, now he's just all about Zach Bagans is right and I'm wrong. Well, guess what? When he was over here the other day and he was watching Zach Bagans, I said, get that man off my TV.
It's like these kids basically.
I told him to go watch Jason Hawes. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's just like anything else. These kids want to basically do like everything all at once because of Zach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there's only been one time where I was kind of successful of deterring kids from like doing what Zach Bagans was doing, because, and again, some of you guys know this, some of you guys don't. It's going to sound unrelated briefly, but it's going to go right back to the subject matter. For 3 years, obviously, it was a seasonal thing, so it was not exactly fully 3 years. Between 2017, 2019, I was working at, and Shane and Mary, I know you guys don't have them in the Netherlands, but you probably have heard of this place, Spirit Halloween.
Oh.
Yeah, great. I'm just going to
They're only
say,
open in October, right?
No, they're probably going to be opening sometime next few days because that's the thing. Everyone always thinks they only open in October. No, they actually like start. They probably already opened a few of them already. They start opening them like in
What?
late July, early August. So
Oh, I'm gonna go to the mall.
yeah,
Check.
it's love the store. I mean, love the store because I worked there for 3 years during that time of the year. It was a great job. The pay was good, but obviously not the point. Um, while I was working at Spirit Halloween, it was among one of those jobs that high school students were allowed to work there too. You could be as young as 16 years old to work there. So when I was working there during those 3 years, we had at that time then students of my former high school that were working alongside with me. And when I found out that they were going to the same high school that I went to, I usually would give them that question saying, well, here's a question for you. Are you familiar with a club that's called Paranormal Club? And they usually said, yeah, I usually hear it. I don't go to it. I mean, they might say I don't go to it, but I often hear it on the speaker all the time and stuff like that. And I usually will tell them, well, you might find this hard to believe, but I am the founder and the original president of the Paranormal Club. And the reactions, I mean, I could probably still get it today if I was to approach any of the kids today. Every time it's always the same thing. I'll never forget it. When I tell them that, it's almost like they're stunned. They feel like they are truly in the presence of a celebrity. It's almost like that moment where these kids almost like they want my autograph, if you will. Like they not so in some way, at least for some of these kids, I'm kind of a local celebrity for them because clearly not too many people, especially these kids, get to meet me and whatnot. And I often usually would talk to, because even if they don't go to the club themselves, they often usually will know somebody that does. And I usually will ask them saying, well, what do they usually talk about? Like during the club? I mean, do you know if they watch like Ghost Adventures and stuff like that? And yes, obviously some of the kids have no clue because they've never gone to the club themselves. So they don't know what's going on. But other occasions they might give me bits and pieces of what they've heard from their friends. And I would actually say, and I would honestly say to them saying, well, if that's what they're getting, and if they're getting it from this guy, Zach Bagans, throw that shit away basically, because that's not true or anything like that. So I can't really say for sure what probably would have been said when that information was brought. But I'm really hoping that even with what I said to them, made some kind of difference, and hopefully they made the right choice of how investigating is supposed to work, and most importantly, not do it for the fame and fortune or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where my stepson is now. Like, I want to be a YouTuber, and I'm like, oh God, please. I really want you to take over Bad to the Bone Paranormal when I'm gone, but this is just not going to work no more. This is not going to work no more.
Guys, I'm going to be a party pooper because we're almost at 2 hours.
Yeah.
We are going to discuss a little bit more in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next one is going to be conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Absolutely.
This is a really good conversation.
We have to pick a date. And because this was a tryout, but I loved it. I really, really loved it. And instead of mischief, we are diving in more and deeper.
Yep.
I like it.
I like it too.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, just to kind of end, this conversation, this goes back to with what we were originally talking about, is for the show out there that was talking bad about the Warrens and also about Zapp, and along with everything that was being spoken about Zappis, everything that's being spoken to Arnie, and like you said earlier, Angela, even with Tony Spira, for everybody that's been bad mouthing these certain individuals, all I got to say is shame on you for not giving that respect, and shame on you also for not, understanding, what role they played through, or like what Arnie went through, clearly, and I'm not afraid to say it, for those that have spoken out negatively about him, you have no respect. And for you to think that you're still considered investigators and whatnot, you're a disgrace to the field.
Yeah.
You're a
Absolutely.
disgrace. You're a disgrace just as much as Zach Bagans is.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well, don't mess up the chance to get him in our show.
Oh well, yeah. Can you imagine if we had him on and all it was just arguing and stuff like that?
Oh my God, the
Probably.
things I said about him.
I want to be.
yeah.
I know people hate when I come into their podcast and they got somebody big because I'm coming with those questions. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
This has been
It
a
has
really-
been.
really good conversation.
Absolutely. I
What a
loved
way to
it.
end it, Nick.
And we're going to do it more often.
Yeah.
Shall I spoil the surprise for Wednesday?
Yes. You
Yes?
can now.
Okay. Next Wednesday, we have a special guest and a surprise. We are going to interview Christopher Fleming.
No way.
Yep.
Wait.
We're gonna have
Wait.
fun.
Wait,
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank
It's
you.
not a surprise no more.
Yeah, and it's funny because I just saw
Wow.
him too. I just saw him too a few months ago. So he knows. I speak to him. I mean, I don't speak to him on a regular basis, but he knows me very well. He's great to chat with nowadays. It'll be great to speak with him on Wednesday.
Absolutely. And
He's
we have a
amazing.
very pleasant surprise for him. So
Oh yeah.
I'll be
yeah.
watching.
That's good. And sharing.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. What are you doing? Are you going to do a striptease for him?
No.
It goes too far.
Oh.
Exactly.
Bring the dollars. Bring the dollars. No, bring the 20s. It's Mary. Bring the 20s.
Or if you have a few hundreds in there too, go ahead and bring those.
Yeah. Matter
Just
of
do
fact,
that.
just Venmo her.
Yeah, or better yet, Apple Pay her.
All right,
How
guys.
was that? All right. Thanks. It was nice, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining. All right. Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.